Narcissists will betray you, and it's inevitable that they break your heart. But I'm going to explain to you how you can process what happened, make sense of what the narcissist did to you, because they are an irrational person. Their mind is really erratic, and they are constantly doing these mental gymnastics trying to prop up their false self, their this persona that they put out onto the world. The narcissist has a set pattern in their mind. They want you to betray them. You probably were doing things in this relationship that you've never done in the past. A narcissist almost puts a spell on you. They implant a lot of their thoughts and feelings into you. A lot of people walk around with these traumatized injuries and they replay these events over and over again, and these are very unconscious past things in our mind that if we don't become aware of them, they're going to lead us around our whole lives, and we'll inevitably keep being betrayed and heartbroken by narcissists. This relationship was doomed from the start, but it is so incredibly heartbreaking because it was this huge idealized fantasy that they put onto you. But because the narcissist is selfless, they act so selfish and egotistical that you would think, oh, this person only really cares about themselves. But when you really understand the inner workings of a narcissist, they are very dependent on other people. So when you meet the narcissist, when you fall in love with them, you really are falling in love with yourself because they're looking to you. Whatever you have inside of you, all that love and empathy and kindness and goodness, you are putting it onto the narcissist, and they're kind of reflecting it back onto you. And the heartbreak is so confusing because the narcissist doesn't know who they are. We might not know who we are when we get in the relationship with them. And then because of all these confusing thoughts, you betrayed yourself. You are feeling guilt and remorse for being so naive and gullible. But this is not the end of the world. It might feel like it, but what this is a learning experience. The narcissist does this to everyone, but you can either sit there and ruminate and do what I did and just think about it and sit in your room alone and cry for months or years on end, or you can face it. If you face it, it'll be a lot easier to deal with. And what you have to face is that you are no longer the person you used to be. Really accept reality for what it is. People who get caught up in relationships with narcissists and can't let go, they really can't let go of themselves. They really can't let go of the idealization of most things. And any memory that has so much energy, what happened with the narcissist was so exhilarating in the beginning because of the love bombing and all of those feelings. And whenever any memory has that much emotional charge to it, that much energy put into it, it's very hard to let go of it. Think of any memory. Why is it so easy to forget what you ate for breakfast sometimes? It's because you weren't emotionally invested in what you ate for breakfast. All of our memories have this emotional charge, and depending on how significant it was to us, that's the level of attachment we'll have to it. Any memory that had a lot of significance to us, we tend to repeat it, and we do that because we're trying to learn the lesson. When you look at the narcissist as a lesson instead of this painful, hurtful experience, it becomes easier to deal with. And healing, people have this concept of healing like it's going to be this magical thing where it's all going to be feel good emotions, but healing is painful when you are trying to constantly idealize everything in your life, whether it's with a narcissist or anything. You're going to keep hurting yourself. You're going to keep hurting yourself because you aren't facing reality for what it is. And that is a big problem and reason people get stuck in these relationships with a narcissist. We want to see our relationship with them as we want it to be instead of how it really is. Whenever you hang around anybody that's like this, they drain you. And when your full energy is put onto someone else, you don't have any battery left to focus on yourself. As fast as you can, pull that energy back from them. Try focusing that energy back on yourself. The longer you keep replacing those emotions and thoughts, even if they're positive or negative, onto you, the less significance the narcissist is going to have in your mind. And I kind of created this formula in my head where it's time plus energy equals healing. And the less you have of time or energy, the longer it's going to take. Don't be like the narcissist. The narcissist, like you, idealized you in the beginning. And because of several psychological reasons, they had to devalue you. And our thinking becomes very similar, whether it's because we already thought that way or they conditioned us to think that way. But here's how the narcissist mind works. They idealized you. So they have this perfect idealized figure of you in their head. And because they're so grandiose, because they think that they're flawless, and then because of how their mind works, and because they have to accomplish that betrayal anxiety, because no one is perfect and reality starts hitting them in the face, now you aren't that perfect idealized image they have in their head, right? But this hurts them. This hurts them because they're perfect, right? At least in their head, they think they're perfect, but the real world is telling them something different. They're starting to see your flaws, just like you are seeing that in the narcissist. You had this perfect image of them in your head, and now you're seeing their flaws. Now you're seeing reality for what it is, but we don't take our own advice. We know that they're bad for us. We know that they hurt us because we don't want to let go of that hope, of that idealized image we have of them. We are stuck in this dichotomous thinking like the narcissist. The narcissist hates you and loves you at the same time. If you've heard that saying, I hate you, don't leave me. That's the narcissist. They hate you, but they love you at the same time. At least the way narcissists love people, right? Like an object. Snap out of this. Snap out of being like the narcissist. You are a narcissist. You have the capacity to do this. It's not easy, but when you take away your psychic energy from them, when you let go of that feeling, of that hope, and you confront reality for what it is, and you already know what it is, but sit there and feel it and really process it. That's how you get over a narcissist. That's how you understand why they had to betray you and why it's not your fault.